You have to get out of the digital echo chamber, especially if you are a modern creator, because it's no doubt ruining your perspective. It's ruining your creativity. It's ruining your creative mindset. And this is what I'm going to talk about today. So, hey creators, Aimon here, and this is where I help creators go full time. It's creative philosophy for a reason, because we get a little bit philosophical at times, okay? And today we're talking about this digital echo chamber, because obviously the algorithms, the way they are designed, is that they know you better than you know you. And if you're on any platform ever, you know this, and it's pretty scary. It is what it is, though. But the fact is that if you are, interacting with this digital echo chamber at all, what it's doing is it knows you better than you. So it just echoes back to you beliefs that perhaps you don't even have fully formed yet. So some of your thoughts and beliefs then come from things that you've actually seen. And that's where it gets really dangerous, because if you're a creator, if you're an artist, like a true artist, then a lot of your original creative thoughts need to come from you, and obviously a collection of your experiences. This is just my personal experience and opinion anyway. I would love to be disagreed with from you in the comments if you feel differently. But I've just noticed with my experience, it's so easy to be influenced as a creator by just watching some TikTok videos, and all of a sudden it shapes your mind. You're thinking, maybe you think this about a particular belief. I know we're getting going a little bit deep here, but this is really important as a creator. But then you watch a video, and then you watch enough of that video that it serves you more videos like that. And then all of a sudden, within a couple of days, you have this fully formed belief based on a speculative thought that you had, that it's now fed you videos to perpetuate that belief. And then all of a sudden, your thoughts aren't your own anymore. Does that make sense? And so this is really dangerous, because it's like you have to, every video you watch, you almost have to go into, I'm talking really short form content, right? Longer form content on YouTube, like watching a camera reviewer or watching a, fitness YouTuber who's talking about science-based lifting, something like that. You don't have to be so aggressively protective with your thinking, I find anyway, because it's like you can easily be like, okay, cool, this person is qualified. But somebody on TikTok, for example, you've never seen before, you flick up and it's just a person, and they're so rigidly telling you about what they believe, right? And it's so easy to get sucked into that and to believe that. They say it with such conviction, but every video that pops up, you almost have to have this filter of like, who are you? Like, why are you qualified to be saying this information? And is this information true, or is this just a part of your experience that you're projecting onto other people because you're hurt or something like that? The classic example, there's a lot of videos that people claim to be relationship experts or something, and then they talk about the opposite gender, whichever gender it is. And it's so intense. And that's just the easiest one to look at, to be like, oh, you're just like a hurt person, and you're just projecting this thing about an entire gender of the, oh yes, 3.5 billion people are this way, for example. But yeah, especially when it comes to creativity and all that sort of stuff as well, and just mindset in general, we've lost the ability to think for ourselves. And that is hugely important, especially as creators, because it's easy to tell when you jump on a platform like TikTok or even YouTube these days, and you see people saying things, and you can almost see past their eyes, and you're like, you don't actually believe that. You are just regurgitating information from other sources. And it's especially clear when it's a very young person. And I'm not saying this is the case all the time. Obviously, there's a lot of genuine YouTubers and creators out there. I'm not bashing any creators in particular as well. I think it's admirable to be a creator, to put yourself out there, anything like that. It's really important to do that, to express yourself through creativity, because that's what we do as artists, right? But yeah, there's a lot of people out there, unfortunately, because the barrier to entry is so low now, that are just regurgitating other people's thoughts, feelings, and opinions, right? And that's okay for them, right? They're just figuring themselves out. I've probably done it in the past, no doubt, right? Not all of my thoughts are my own. I'm not claiming that you have to just never consume any content and all of your thoughts must be original thought. That would never happen, right? We're social creatures. We have to engage with other people to have ideas and form ideas and, gain perspective on different ideas. But just as a creator, like, for example, I know creators that choose not to even listen to music because they are music producers. Like I'm a music producer of almost 11 years now. And it's crazy. I'll listen to an idea, like a song, and then 3 days later, I'm making a piece of music. And I'm like, this kind of sounds like that song, And subconsciously, I've just made a little bit of that idea, and that's cool because you're taking ideas from another place, and this is how inspiration starts. Like maybe I wouldn't have started that song if I wasn't a fan of that other song, for example. But it's just something to be more protective of, I think, especially in this day and age, especially as reality starts to shift with like AI and augmented reality and all this sort of stuff coming in now. Like we're just going to be zombie creatures walking around with other people's opinions. And, obviously it's already happened with the whole Facebook debacle since 2016 and just forcing their opinion on other people. It shows how easily manipulatable and malleable we are as humans. And again, there's no real escaping it if you consume any media at all. But what I'm really saying here is that as an artist, it's really important to protect your personal artistic integrity. Just a sip of peppermint tea for a second. Because that's where your true thoughts, ideas, and emotions come from. And I feel at least my best work comes from an emotional experience that I've had. And that's how I'm communicating that to the world through that piece, whatever that is. It's music or video or, whatever it is. And that is just so hugely important right now because, we're kind of lost as a bit of a society right now. And this is why this digital echo chamber is so dangerous because it's so easy to get sucked in. And it's funny when you have this self-awareness about the fact that you're like, oh, wait, hold on a second. I've just been buying into this narrative that I've been fed over the last few weeks because the algorithm knows that I'm going to watch it because it like triggers something within me to get a little bit angry or like, yeah, I agree with that. So, and then the algorithm knows. So it's like, feed them more of that. So I'll stay on the platform so that the company can feed you more ads and make more money. Like that's how it all works, right? And it's just, aside from that, it's also abusing your dopamine receptors. So that natural dopamine that you get from creating is also a little bit diminished, and you're a bit more of a zombie in terms of you don't have the motivation and drive to go and make more of the things. And that's the other huge benefit to just getting off these platforms or putting limits on them or making your phone grayscale, all these things. And just genuinely when you realize that there's actually not much value in it. Like instead of waiting at the bus stop or waiting in line somewhere to get your food, instead of spending 5 minutes on TikTok, it's actually more valuable to you to spend 5 minutes doing nothing at all, right? Because you're not having any insanely dopaminergic inputs that's sucking this life force out of you, that's feeding you opinions and manipulating your personality, not like in a negative intentional way, but you know what I'm saying. And when you really realize that it's like, hold on, there's actually more value in just like raw dogging life for a moment here while I wait to get this sandwich or whatever it is, or this coffee, than it is to just immediately need stimulation and give into that urge. It's sucking your soul dry as an artist, I would say. And the only reason I'm saying that is because that's just the experience that I'm noticing in myself. That's kind of the effect of the digital echo chamber that I wanted to outline in this video, because I think it's important, underrated, and a lot of people I just see walking around. It's easier to see it in other people than it is yourself. Obviously, you're like, oh, that person's just like on their phone for 15 minutes while they're waiting for a bus or whatever, and meanwhile you do it as well. The biggest one that disgusts me is like friends that do it, like that use their phone on the toilet. I'm like, that's the best opportunity to not touch your phone. And then, then they walk around with filthy phones and like, oh yeah, I take like 30 minutes in the bathroom. I'm like, what? That's disgusting. And also you're like, using a phone for half an hour when you don't have, anyway, that's a whole different thing. But yeah, what do you think about this? I would love to know what you think and your experience with this, your perception on this, because I think, yeah, it's kind of underrated having this conversation right now. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.